Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anisa. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share, and ring the bell so you get notified every time I upload. Everything I have a link to will be linked down below in the description. And let's get right for today's video. I'm going to be reviewing the Modelones kit. Like I said, it comes with a brush, some forms, and 3 acrylic powders, including clear, a nude, and a white. And let's open it up and see what everything is looking like. This brush is a number 12 brush, is what it says. These are some gold forms. The highest they go up to is 7. Here's the baby Modelones liquid. Here's number 26, which I believe is a white. Here's number 27, which is a nude. And here's 25. It's the 10th, and it decided to snow. And if you hear any noise, it's the snow coming down. It hasn't snowed here in forever, but that's another topic. So I'm going to tell you guys how the Modelones acrylic liquid smells, because the Young Nails one is not too strong. That's my favorite liquid. If you guys hear any background noise, I'm sorry about that. So here it is. It is baby. It is 50 milliliters or 1.7 fluid ounces. And yes, I only have one hand done. Sorry about that. Let's see. Ooh, this is strong, baby. Okay, and in color, it is lighter. It's like a super light purplish pink. It is extremely strong, though. I'm not gonna lie. This is one of the strongest acrylic liquids I've ever smelt. You can't smell it? I'm sitting, my sister, she's sitting next to me a couple feet away. I'd say she's sitting closer to the window, and she says she can't smell it, but I can smell it, y'all.
Can you add a bit of that apple smell that you have from
You know, I lost those apple drops.
Oh.
So this is number 26. Let me move it over here. Do like this. No. Let me open up this brush. It doesn't look like it has any packing filler in the brush, like to keep the shape of the brush, and it is an oddly shaped brush. To me, I've never received a brush this shape and with the thingy bent down. Yeah, there's literally no packing in this brush. Like the little, like the little white stuff that comes in your acrylic brush when you first get it. Yeah, it's none of that in there. So you can pretty much just start. So I'm going to do like this. Yeah, this is the most awkward shaped brush I've used. This takes, so far, I haven't really tested it out, but so far it's quite awkward. The handle is quite short and the bristles are quite long and thin. So let's see for how that goes for picking up a bead. It picked up an oblong shaped bead. This is the white, number 26. And I'm gonna wipe my brush. Here it is right there at the corner, number 26, 25. I should have started in order. I usually start in order, sorry. And they all come with the little sealed for your protection, which is much needed, especially when you're like shipping. Okay. It does kind of stick to the brush a little though, because it is so thin. I'm going to do my sister's nails with this entire kit. The link to this kit will be down below in the description. Here's the clear. I don't know if it's the clearest powder I've used. I'll see. And of course, I will be intertwining this set with the other acrylic powder kit that I got. That was just acrylic powders. So 25 is the clear if you get this kit, which is like, it's just like a nude and white kit. Make sure my brush is wiped off good. Yeah, that didn't pick up a big bead at all. Ooh, this peachy color is really nice. Let's compare it to my JC Beauty Concepts Cover Blush. Here's the liquid. It is still extremely like clear, which I like. But I can already see like the acrylic residue not wanting to leave the brush. So here's the comparison between the color. So this is 27 by Modelones, and this is my JC Beauty Concepts Cover Blush. So it's more of like a peachy nude orange color. And then JC Beauty Concepts, you could pick up a big bead, but the JC Beauty Concepts one is more of a pinky color. So these are both really cute. They look kind of similar, but they are very different. I really like that. This is just like a deep version of this one. This is very light and airy. Now that I smell it and I've gotten used to it, it's not bad anymore. But that initial first little pour some in was horrible. And now we're gonna get to the actual nail portion of this tutorial. Hi, it's voiceover Anisa, and this video is going to be a longer video because I'm going to be explaining what I'm doing more thoroughly, and because I haven't been showing most of my filing process and all that as of recently. So now I'm just blending in the tips, and after I will go in and cut these tips down quite a bit because I left the full length on mine, and for some reason on her nails it looks longer versus on my nails, but I don't know why it does that. So I'm using the form that came in the kit, and I'm going to cut the nails to a 4. And so when you do this, the nails should be pretty even because I did use the form and I did make sure it went to the same line. So that's just like a quick way to measure it. After I'm done measuring, we'll go into reshaping. I will be using my 8080 grit file from Pana. So ever since I did my nails, I haven't done anyone else's nails, so this is the first that I did with these long nails, and it was a little challenging, especially like just picking up the tips. Filing, like I kept bumping into my nail, but I worked it out in the end. And so here I am showing you that you don't want to curve your file in at all. And so I start at the where the tip meets the natural nail, file that to make sure it's all the way on it and it's not hanging over, and I make sure it's straight there, and then I lower my file and I file that. And you don't want to curve your file in or have it at a weird angle, or it's going to mess up the shape of your nail. And so if you file it up and down like that, as you hold your file vertical, it's going to make sure it's straight. And then I only do the side walls like this. And then once you flip it, like you flip the hand over to do the free A. So here's for the thumb, you get a better look at what I'm talking about. And like just the way that you hold your file can affect your shape. And for the thumb, that's the only one I do that direction because it's easier for me to file like that. And then she's gonna flip her hand, and this is what it's looking like without doing the free edge yet. And then now I'm doing the free edge. So I did the free edge in the camera. I thought I didn't. But so yeah, filing at a 90-degree angle, making sure the file is 100% straight, because if it's off, it's gonna look off. So here's what the nails look like shaped. And so now I'm going in with a acid primer. And acid primers, they spread easily on the nail. So you don't want to add too much. And I would just add like a little dot to where it didn't spread. So that's why I'm not going too crazy with it, because it is going to spread. And then on top of this, I'm going with my Young Nails Protein Balm, which is a non-acid primer. And I just wanted to test this combo out to see how I liked it. I don't think I've tried an acid primer out on her nails yet. So I just wanted to see how they would wear, pretty much. And for my nails haven't lifted at all, and I just used the Young Nail Primer. So here I am going in with the brush for the kit to start off with. And I'm using the clear, and I noticed the clear was a weird consistency with this brush. I did end up switching brushes during the set because this brush is horrible. So it is a synthetic brush, meaning it's non-Kolinsky, which is, you know, it's okay if it was a good brush, but it's so thin and the acrylic sticks to the brush. So that's why it started warping shapes, is because the acrylic started sticking to it. And you guys saw how vigorously I was wiping it off during just the swatching portion, and it still didn't help this brush at all. And this is just for the clear, is just for the nail bed, and the tip for a feel. And it also helps with lifting. And you guys, this brush is horrible, so I recommend you get your own acrylic brush, because this brush is not going to work for you. It didn't work for me. So, well, you might like it, I don't know, it depends. But you see, I did try, and let me explain the texture of this powder, because it is a bit different. So you see how like it's right there and it didn't move, and it like, I put a big bead on there and it didn't really go anywhere. So you have to wet it. You see what happens when I dipped my monomer in the brush, dipped my brush in the monomer, my bad, and then blotted it off. And then now I just kind of like painted it on there. Like I just put one little swipe on the actual acrylic color, and boom, it was like, it filled up the entire nail. So when I saw that, I was like, because you see, I did work with the other powders with my JC Beauty Concepts monomer, and they didn't work like this. They were different. The only one that kind of worked like this was the black, but the pink didn't work like this at all. So the monomer and powder combination is something. It's different. It's a new texture for me, which I like trying out new textures. And so you will see that this nail does get stained a different color. There I am showing you that the brush is crusty, and it's like warping into different shapes. So we still didn't know what she was gonna do. So that's why, if I would have known we were going in with like this white, then I wouldn't have did the brown finger first. But we knew for 100% we're gonna go in with the brown. The brown that I picked up was actually meant for the pinky to begin with, but I picked up the bead too big. So, and you can see that it did go on differently. And here I'm still trying to use the brush, and you see how the brush spread all over the white when I was trying to clean up her sidewall. So yeah, I figured it out. with the brush, and you see that my application is getting better. It doesn't look as severely tinted on camera as it was. It was kind of like, it was like an orange cream, pretty much is the way that the nail was looking in person. But it didn't really matter anyways to begin with, because we were going to be covering it up with some Louis Vuitton nail foil. So, just to explain to you guys what I'm doing and what happened with the pinky is, when you use a darker color, it's going to tint your monomer a darker color if you're not wiping the brush correctly. And of course, I was using the janky brush, so it was getting stuck to the bristles of the brush, so it was tinting the monomer because the color was being held in the brush, and it ended up tinting the monomer, making it that orangish color, which for the darker color, it doesn't really matter that it's that color, right? But for the white, it tints it a deeper color when you don't want it to be tinted, right? You want it to just be a regular white. So that's why you use the lighter colors first and then the darker colors, because that's also going to mess up your monomer. But if it's like a lighter color on a dark color, it doesn't really matter. And also for glitter, you want to do the glitters last, because then the glitter particles will get inside your monomer, and nails that you don't want glitter on, you're going to get glitter on them. So those two things, you want to make sure you use them last. You want to use the dark colors last and the glitters last, or it's going to tint your monomer and mess it up a little bit. So I went ahead and added some new monomer, and that's why it is white. So for the index finger, it's going to be that orangish color. It's going to be number 11. So I went ahead and did that one last, and then I did the thumb. So you guys can see that right here at the corner, at the cuticle of the nail, it was not sticking. The white acrylic would not stick to that section no matter what. And I am going to be encapsulating these nails. I encapsulate all my colored acrylics. It just makes more sense to me to do it that way, because it's like, it's not a lot of white that comes, not a lot of white, it's not a lot of like colored acrylic that comes, like it's not a big old jar, and I have more of my white than I do of the colored acrylic. So I just make sure I encapsulate with clear everything I do. So I'm not really like building any structure. You don't really have to at this point, unless you want to completely build these nails up. And I also don't want to like file and make it patchy on accident. And you guys can see, like, it is a different texture, a different consistency. So if this consistency looks like something you might want, then go ahead and pick these up. They're really affordable, great for the price, and they're always having sales on like Amazon and their website. Because I know on Amazon, when I bought this, there was a coupon on this kit that I got, the small kit, and on another kit that I bought from them. So that kit will be coming in a later video, so stay tuned. I do have another haul video on the way. And yeah, so I'm gonna let you guys keep watching. I'm gonna show you how I capped and clear. you can see that it flaked off into the clear container. I don't even know how it flaked off into the container, but it did. Like, it didn't look dry. Like, I was confused by it. That's why I showed you. I was like, what? How did these little flakes get in there? Like, how did these flakes of color? And so I think I just went over with like one more layer clear, not one more layer clear, one more layer of white. And there I am showing you that it's not as tinted as it looks on camera. And because my lights are kind of bright, so it does kind of like wash it out a little bit. And it doesn't like show you what the color is really looking like, because it was really dark and then it went kind of back to white. So yeah, here I am just making sure everything is fully opaque. And I'm gonna go in with my clear. You see, I was mixing it up just to make sure nothing was in there, and if it was, I made sure I picked it out. So here we go. First time doing the clear. You see, I picked up a bead that was way too big for the pinky, so I just decided to move it over to the ring finger because I had some time. And look how runny this clear is. Like, this clear is extremely flowy, and it's, you can just see how different the colored acrylic is versus the clear, because it works completely differently. You have to work with the clear a little bit drier, but I like to work with my clear wet, so it didn't really bother me. The only part that bothered me about this was it did flow extremely crazy. Like, if you weren't paying attention, if you weren't pointing the finger down to make sure it didn't flood the cuticle, and if you weren't monitoring your sidewalls, then it will most definitely flood into them if you're not paying attention. So you just have to be careful and guide that product while you're applying the clear, or it's going to be way too it's gonna be way too wet, right? So if it's way too wet for you, like, you see how I picked up like a decent bead there, and like when you hold it down it starts to flow. So you just have to be very careful, and you have to know where you need to put the clear. So look at the nail from the side, see where it's still thin, where there's a dip in the nail, and apply the clear as needed. Or you could just build up these colored acrylics and get your apex and your thickness at the tip and all that really good, and you don't have to encapsulate. But I prefer to encapsulate. Like I said, I don't want to over file and make it patchy and have to worry about all that. And you see how like I was like showing like, okay, I need more clear right there at the stressed area, because that's where the stressed area is. It's where your natural nail and the tip meet, and a little bit more on your nail bed area, like a little bit further. So yeah, that's how I encapsulate with clear. I just see where I need to put it and I put it there. And I usually start at the cuticle area, get that nice, and then work my way to the tip. And if I need any more in between that area, I go ahead and I add some there. And yeah, that's pretty much how I cap and clear. And I wait until everything is fully dry before I get to filing, or it's gonna be like a gummy mess and it's gonna take off everything you just put on there. Because I remember when I was first starting, if it wasn't turning out the way I wanted it to, but it was still kind of like setting up, I would start to file and it would just take off all the clear that I had just did in like big old little patches. So you have to wait and make sure everything's 100% dry before you start filing, or you're going to mess up your nail because it's not dry, it's not set, it's not hardened. So you're filing on soft product pretty much, and that's not good. It's not going to turn out pretty, it's not going to help you. So just wait till it dries and then fix it up. Don't do it while it's wet or while it's still setting. So now that everything is the proper thickness that I want and everything looks good, I waited for it to dry and now I'm starting my filing process. So here I explain, like even with my file, because I was talking, this was gonna be a a raw audio video. Like I wasn't gonna be doing a voiceover, but I didn't like how long it was. So I'm showing you, don't hold your file at a crazy angle or it's going to change the shape of your nail. So you don't want to hold it out too far, too wide, and you don't want to narrow it in at the bottom, but keep it kind of straight like you're doing it like coffin. Like the skinnier you go at the tip, you want to narrow it in more, right? So for stiletto, you want to narrow your file in, right, as much as you can, depending on the pointiness you want it. And then when you do a coffin, you want to hold it at that point. Like I'll show you in another video, but this is just tapered square. So all you want to do is hold the file 100% square, 100% straight, 90-degree angle, no curving in, no tapering in, no nothing. Like what I mean by no tapering in is like not too tapered to where you're holding your file at an angle to get it tapered. And here I'm also cleaning up the sides, like underneath the nail and all that, and I'm going over top of the nail. I'm holding my file vertically so I get more surface area, and you don't want to just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You want to lift it up every time you come back. And so you see on the sides, I'm have my file like 100% straight, and I moved her wrist over because when her wrist was crooked, it makes the filing process a little harder because you might think your nail is wonky. You filed it wrong, you glued the tip on wrong, but if their hand is not at the proper angle, then it kind of makes everything look like it's wrong, right? So you want to make sure your client's hand, whoever knows you're doing hand, is 100% straight. They're sitting up straight. They're not leaning to the side. Their hand is not leaning to the side. And if you're gonna file vertically, if you're gonna file the top vertically, make sure you're pulling up just to make sure you can see what you're doing. And then for the thumb, it's the exact same thing. And I'm gonna show you how to file the free edge to make sure that it's straight, because to my point of view, it might look straight, right? It might look 100% crisp, everything's even, but once you flip the hand over to your client's point of view and you have it pointed at you, you might be like, okay, this is a little crooked. It's not 100% straight across, and that's also when you get to clean up the nails, like the sidewalls of the nails, make sure they're 100% straight, and make sure they're 100% all the same width, and all that, and make sure your shape is even. And you see how I have a glove on for the filing process, but not the acrylic process. It's because I forgot I had the glove around me, and I wasn't going to put the glove on my left hand, which is the hand that's holding her thumb. Just because the nails were too long and I didn't want to poke holes in them because I didn't have a point. And so you can see here, I'm making sure the nails are 100% straight, right? Because this is the best way to crispen up the shape, make sure they're looking good, because from here I can really tell that it's done right. Like it's filed good, it's straight, it's even, and they don't look crooked, they don't look wonky, because this is like one of the final steps you can change it on, right? Because it's like the last filing process, because once you apply the top coat, you don't want to be messing around with it anymore. Like after you buff, that's like the finisher, pretty much. You're done with the filing process, you're done with everything, but you can go back in and crispen up the sides if you really need to. But after you apply the top coat, it's pretty much over. So the file I was using was an 80/80 grit file from Pana. It is a zebra file and a jumbo file. So now I'm taking my 5-in-1 carbide bit from Pana. It is in the fine grit, and the little red thing comes with the bit, if you were wondering. And so this is what I use to go around the cuticles, and my nails have been lasting so much better. my sister, she hasn't really been losing nails or picking at her nails. She's not afraid of the filing process anymore, which I said in one of my other videos, because she used to be afraid to let me file on her nails, like around her cuticle and all that, because she thought I was going to cut her. Because with my non-safety drill bits, I did cut her a couple of times. I'll be honest, I did. But with this drill bit, because it is a safety drill bit, I have not cut her. I haven't cut anyone. I haven't cut myself. This drill bit lets you get so close. It is $12 and like 49 cents, 59 cents, so it is quite expensive, but it's worth it. If you're looking for a cheaper option, there is a tapered barrel bit, and I haven't tried that out, but the only thing is the tip is a little bit wider than this one, so that's the only reason why I didn't get that one, is because I wanted something narrow like this. And that bit is also a safety bit because of the shape. So this is a safety bit because of the shape, and it doesn't have any like burrs going out further than the tip. So you're not gonna cut your client easily. Like, you're gonna have to like move the file all the way up to cut them. Like, you're gonna have to be pretty reckless to cut them with a safety drill bit like this. So I really, really, really recommend this bit, especially if you're a beginner. The first time I used it, I was extremely scared because I've never used one of these carbide drill bits before, and I was really afraid that I was gonna cut her, it was gonna heat up, it was gonna do this, but that didn't happen at all. And I haven't really given anyone a heat spike with this drill bit or any of my drill bits so far, but you want to make sure you are moving the drill bit across, so you go around the cuticle a couple times and you go around the surface of the nail, just so you're distributing your drill bit properly. Because if you keep going around the cuticle, you're going to end up causing friction and causing heat. And while you're filing, you want to make sure you're wearing a mask so you're not getting the dust particles in your nose, your mouth, all that. And you want to make sure you have some eye protection, so you're not getting dust in your eye either. And if you guys want me to show you how I do a fill, I'll show you on my nails, but just know this probably gonna have to be like a 2-part video, just because it takes me forever to file off the color on myself. Like on my left hand in this video, I had taken off the other nails already. Not my left hand, my right hand. I had already taken off those nails, and I didn't want to take off my right hand because it's so much harder for me to file that. So I just decided to wait, and I just now finally took off all that acrylic. So I'll show you guys. And I ended up switching bits. So in my final step before my buffer, I like to switch to the fine sanding band I was using and just really smooth out the entire surface and go over the cuticle area. Again, very gently. It doesn't really remove too much. It just helps to smoothen out the nail. Again, I don't really have too many lumps and bumps, so I didn't really have to file over the nail with the hand file and the e-file too much. But I just choose to make sure everything is like all the same texture, it's all looking nice, everything's going the way that I want it to go. So yes, in my filing, my final step of e-filing is going back in with the same sanding band that I used to remove the shine from the nails and to debulk the tip area. This is all the same sanding band. It helps me use up the sanding band. And for the buffer, it's a Red's buffer. I get it from my nail supply store. And all this is doing is smoothing out the nail, making sure there's no lumps, bumps, or scratches left on the nail from the e-file or the hand file. And after this is done, it's time for the foils. So after all the buffing and filing is done, you want to make sure you cleanse the nails. You can have your client go wash their hands. I'm using the Macart nail art foil glue. It's like a gel, and you cure it for 60 seconds and then take it out and apply your foil. This foil didn't really want to stick too well. And so back to what I was saying. After you cleanse the nail, not after you cleanse the nail, but yeah, she started bleeding out of nowhere. Like, y'all see, I was like 100% done filing, buffing, and then she started bleeding. I don't know where it came from. She don't know where that happened, but I just wiped it off with some swipe to, you know, disinfect it, clean the area off, and dry up that, soak up the cut, and then that was it. She wasn't like cut too bad or nothing like that. I don't know how it happened. And so here I am cutting off the foil. We are using LV foil that came in the 70-piece kit that I had got. And this is what this entire set was inspired by, was this foil. She really wanted this foil. And I did struggle with it for some reason. It just did not want to stick. Like, it didn't want to stick on any of the other fingers. So like, I would put on the foil gel and then I would cure it. Then I would do one finger, that would stick good. And then I would move on to the next finger that I had the foil gel on, and it didn't want to stick at all. And so I would have to buff off the previous foil gel on there with a file or a buffer and the e-file, you know, buff it off, make sure nothing was on it. And I even had to switch pieces. And you see the thumb, I had to buff off the thumb, refile the thumb, because, you know, it's gel, so you have to get it all off and then redo it. Or you could just continue to layer it, but I wanted to make sure the nail stayed the same thickness that I had the whole time. So I filed all that off and then reapplied my gel, and that worked just as good. Like, so you buff it off, the old one, if any other, like, any little bits of foil was on there that doesn't look good, buff those off, and then reapply your foil gel, and then cure it, reapply your foil, and then it should give you a better result. Like I said, the clear back foils in this kit do really, really well, but for some reason, the ones with a background, they give me a hard time. And yeah, I got these nails looking as good as I can get it. Now I'm going in with my Beatles Top It Off gel. This is a really thick top coat. I talked about this. And you see how slow I was taking the lid out? It's just because it's so thick that it's just like, it's, I don't want to say it's hard to use it, but sometimes in the bottle, it's super, super, super thick. And there is no dust in it. There's no nothing in it. And you see I zoomed in so you can see it better. And I'm using really thin layers just because this top coat, it gets really thick really quickly. So you only need thin layers of this top coat, or of any top coat you're using. You need thin layers. You don't need to pack it on thick. It don't need to build any strength. You don't need to do anything crazy. It's just to, I use it to pretty much like lock in the design, give it some shine. You see she moved there. So you want to make sure you don't flood the cuticles with the gel, or it's gonna lift. And like my sister, she likes to pick at anything that you leave out. So that's why I file her cuticle area good. I file underneath her nail good with the 5-in-1 bit and the sanding band, which I didn't show. And I like to wipe the sides off. And if you get any gel in the cuticle, like in that little dip right there between the cuticle and the nail, you want to get a brush with some acetone and wipe that up, because if it cures there, it's going to be a little bit harder to get out that area, and you're going to have to go in and file it. And here I am. This is the Blossom Cuticle Oil. I just transferred it into the Young Nail bottle because I like the applicator of the Young Nail bottle better. So it's the Blossom Cuticle Oil in the scent Hibiscus. And thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Bye.